This is Yogita Patil. Name of the paper is Hydrogeology. Today we are going to learn about hydrogeology, its definition and different hydrological properties of rocks. This is the definition of hydrogeology. It is a branch of geology that deals with the study of occurrence, distribution and circulation of groundwater beneath the earth's surface. We know that hydrogeology deals with rock formations and its water bearing capacity, and it especially deals with groundwater. So what are the factors which influence its occurrence, distribution and circulation are studied in hydrogeology. Where does it occur? How does it get distributed? How does it get circulated beneath the surface? All of these factors and their study involved in hydrogeology. Then there are certain hydrological properties of rocks. First is porosity. It is simply a water holding capacity of a rock. How much water a rock can hold is denoted by the term porosity. It is the water bearing capacity of a rock. The empty spaces between the fragments that make up a rock represent porosity that can hold water. Porosity is a measure of how much water a body of rock can hold. It means that between different rock grains there are certain empty spaces which are called as pores, and the water is stored in that pores, and this capacity of storing water is called as porosity of that particular rock. It is not an integer, it is a ratio which is denoted as the percentage of pore spaces to the total volume of rock. There are two kinds of porosities. First is intergranular porosity, that is the spaces between the crystal grains, and second is fracture porosity, which is caused due to the fractures present in the rock. In case of sedimentary rocks, the porosity is directly proportional to the sorting and roundness. If the rock is well sorted and well rounded, it has maximum porosity, and vice versa. Sediments with unrounded and unsorted grains tend to have lower porosities than those that are rounded and sorted. It means that rounding and sorting have great influence on the porosity of a particular rock. However, as the clastic sediments are made up of with some cement or binding material which is called as matrix, its type means type of that cement and its quantity or extent are also have great influence on the porosity of a particular clastic sedimentary rock. It is a diagrammatic representation of porosity. In the first diagram, well sorted sand is shown. Beside that, poorly sorted sand is shown. We can easily see that in the well sorted sand there is high porosity and poorly sorted sand have low porosity. Below that, fractured crystalline rock like granite is shown, and beside that, soluble rock like limestone is shown, which is also have higher porosity than crystalline rock. The next property is permeability. Being only porous does not ensure being a rock as a good aquifer. It needs to be permeable for being a good aquifer. Now what is permeability? Permeability is the water carrying capacity of the rock. It is okay that it can hold good quantity of water, but it should transmit it, and this capacity of transmit water is called as permeability of that particular rock. It is the capacity of the rock to transmit water under pressure and it is related to the size and interconnection of the pore spaces. For any rock for being permeable rock, the pore spaces must be interconnected. It is expressed in terms of number of gallons per day at 60 degree Fahrenheit, and this unit of permeability, gallon per day per square feet, is also called as Menzer's unit or simply Menzer. Here we can see the porosity and permeability together. In the first diagram, there are no pore spaces and hence there is no permeability. It means that this rock is non-porous and non-permeable. In the second diagram, pore spaces are there but they are not interconnected, hence permeability is not there. It means that this rock is porous but not permeable. And in the third diagram, pore spaces are there and they are interconnected, hence this rock has good porosity and good permeability. Next property is transmissivity. It is okay that the rock can transmit water. It means that it is permeable. But the rate of transmission is also very important, and this rate is denoted by the term transmissivity. It is a discharge rate at which water is transmitted through a unit width of an aquifer under a unit hydraulic gradient. It is equal to the thickness of saturated zone of an unconfined aquifer. It is usually expressed as meter square per second. It means that how much water can be transmitted through a rock in unit time is important, and it is denoted by the term transmissivity. The next term is storage capacity. It is usually expressed as coefficient of storage and may be defined as the volume of water it releases from or takes into storage per unit surface area of the aquifer per unit change in the component of the head normal to that surface. Under water table conditions, the coefficient of storage is practically equal to the specific yield. It means that how much water, porosity denotes that, or porosity tells us that whether the rock can store water or not. Having a good porosity means that water can store water. But how much water is denoted by this term storage capacity or coefficient of storage. How much volume of water it releases from or takes into storage is its storage capacity. The next term is specific yield. Porosity is a measure of how much water a rock can hold, but it is not necessarily a measure of how much water an aquifer can yield or produce. As we have just seen that porosity tells us that water can hold or store water, but how much water it can yield or produce, it cannot be denoted by the term porosity. It is denoted by the term specific yield. The proportion of the water in the rock that does drain out readily is known as specific yield. Means the amount of water a rock can yield or produce in a unit time is its specific yield. Fine grained materials or rocks such as clays or shells are likely to have specific yields 5% or less. Though they are porous, the pores are not interconnected and hence their specific yield is very low, as much as up to 5% or even less. Whereas even though they have porosity up to 20 to 30%, their specific yield is very low, up to 5% or even less. While coarse grained materials or rocks such as coarse sandstone have specific yields almost equal to their porosity, that is about 20 to 35%. They are porous, the porosity is 20 to 35% and they can yield as much as water as their porosity. Here specific yield is shown for different types of sands. First, gravel is there, it has good specific yield and rapid drainage. Second, fine grained sand is there, which has medium specific yield and moderate drainage. and in the third diagram clay or solid rocks are there which has low or very low specific yield and slow or almost no drainage. The next term is specific retention. Specific retention is opposite to the specific yield. Yield means how much water it can produce, while retention is how much water it can hold under gravity. It is the amount of pore water that does not drain readily under gravity. Means this water we cannot explore or tap. The sum of the specific yield and specific retention is the porosity. Porosity denotes the both the water that is yielded by the rock and retained by the rock, which is denoted by the terms specific yield and specific retention. For example, a sandstone have specific yield of 20% and specific retention of 6% and its total porosity is 26%, while shale have specific yield of just 2% and specific retention 31% and total porosity is 33%. The next term is hydraulic conductivity. It is similar to conduction capacity or transmission capacity of water. It is the ability of a rock or unconsolidated material to transmit water. Although it is partly controlled by intergranular porosity. It is important to mention that very fine grained sediments or materials or rocks tend to have low conductivities. It is denoted by the symbol K and expressed in velocity units, centimeter per second. It is the again conductivity means ability to conduct water in a unit time, and it is denoted by symbol K. It can be used to estimate the velocity with which water will flow through rock, assuming that there is some gravitational force to push the water. This term is used to estimate the velocity of water, to find out the velocity of water flow. It is very important in groundwater exploration. How much of the water a rock can hold, how much of the water a rock can transmit, and its rate of transmission, that is hydraulic conductivity, is very important in studying aquifer properties. In 1856, Henry Darcy have estimated hydraulic conductivity by determining the rate of flow of water as a function of hydraulic gradient. Hydraulic conductivity has to do with hydraulic gradient. It is proportional with the hydraulic gradient, and it is found out first by the Darcy, and it is known as Darcy's law. So today we have seen important hydrological properties of rocks.